covering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
And it's going to be a challenge for us. I mean, they're a really talented football team. I think everybody knows that.
Four wide receivers. Pressure. Steps up. Marshall wants to run again. Cuts down the middle of the field. All alone. Touchdown! Warriors! What a cut. And welcome inside Morton High School. In the great region, we've got a team from Detroit and a team from right here down the road in Gary, Indiana. Welcome inside Hammond, Indiana's Morton High School. My name is Chad Bush alongside Russ Eisenstein, bringing you Indiana's best against Michigan's best. Glad you're with us. Happy New Year, everybody. Russ, a team in Detroit Renaissance. Let's start first with a Phoenix 3-2 on the year and a ball club that's really talented in the backcourt.
Yeah, trying to figure out who the real Renaissance is, right? They've had a couple of really good wins this year, a couple of head-scratching losses. When you knock off Cass Tech and win that ball game in blowout fashion, that's outstanding. A tough loss to West Bloomfield. That's a tough loss. Coming in here trying to take on a team that is a perennial sectional champion and a regional champion. I think this is a wonderful test to see if Renaissance is on the rise.
Renaissance guards will be tested by the 21st Century's guard, a Division I prospect. What should we know about Mr. Hayes?
Terrence Hayes getting looks from a lot of places. Valparaiso, one of those schools, and a guy that can really score. It will be interesting to see 21st Century's legs because they played in overtime last night. They are the only team here today that will play 2 games in this event. 181-79 last night over homestanding Morton, and so we wonder about the legs. And that was the final game of the day, in fact. So it's still a tough turnaround, playing an overtime game, a competitive game, and see how they stack up against a team that's been able to relax in the hotel all day.
Yeah, 20-7 last year for 21st Century, 7-2 on the year, and as Russ mentioned, they played last night. It's a fast-paced team as well, a team that uses their legs, exerts a lot of energy. It's not a deep bench, Russ, so it'll be tested against this Renaissance team that also has some pace to them, and they want to play quickly as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see if Renaissance uses that overtime game last night to their advantage today. It's kind of a controlled, fast pace that Renaissance plays, and your regular viewers that have seen them on the prep often know all about that. I think it's going to be interesting to see 21st Century, and their head coach is a guy that's Arkansas Little Rock's all-time leading scorer. So he's a guy that knows all about scoring in James Scott. So it should be a really fun test tonight and a good way to conclude this invitational.
Detroit Renaissance comes in with a 30-point victory against their rival Detroit Cass Tech already this year. As you get a look at Lance Stone, Mr. PSL, that's the top basketball player in the city of Detroit. He did it last year as a junior. Lance is a high-level player, and he comes from good bloodlines.
Yeah, certainly does, and had 20 points in the win over Country Day, and that was a really good win, too. And so you talk about them being able to prove themselves consistently. I think this is an opportunity to do just that tonight.
Renaissance coming off the loss to West Bloomfield on the 30th by 3 points. And, yeah, we just have not seen exactly who they are yet.
Yeah, Lamonte Stone. You led me there, and I just didn't finish it, Chad. I'm sorry. That's not good broadcasting on my part. Lamonte Stone is Lance Stone's father, and, of course, a guy that's been an outstanding assistant coach at a variety of places. Under Mark Montgomery at Detroit Mercy right now, and they're trying to elevate things at historic Callahan Hall. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of storylines and bullet points to pique everyone's interest as we close in on what will probably be 11 o'clock or after that Eastern time tonight. But here in the good old Central Time Zone, this thing will be finished just after 10 o'clock tonight, and we'll figure out who's going to ride away, the homestanding Gary 21st Century or a real pleasant ride home for Renaissance tonight.
The 3 games we've covered, Indiana with a win yesterday with Cathedral, Michigan with a win earlier with Cass Tech. Who will win this battle? Renaissance and 21st Century next on the Prep. First, life gives us many. From buying your first car or first home to starting a business, Alliance Catholic Credit Union is here for you every step of the way. From checking and savings accounts and youth accounts to auto loans, mortgages, business needs, and financial planning. A full-service financial institution with over 70 years of experience. We're committed to serving your firsts, seconds, 50ths, and every day in between. Alliance Catholic Credit Union. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Nick DePonio, and this is HVAC.
In today's ever-changing mortgage lending world, the importance of true professionals has never been greater. At Success Mortgage Partners, we want you to have the experience of a lifetime. Founded and owned by Catholic League alumni, our family-centered business keeps your interest at heart as we help you navigate this turbulent market with ease. If you or a family member has a mortgage need, please call me, Owen Lee, at 734-822-9792.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
Chad Bush, Russ Eisenstein with you from the region. It's Northwest Indiana. Renaissance about 4 hours away from home. 21st Century, about 14 minutes away from home.
And we should explain, too, that there is a wardrobe malfunction of sorts. 21st Century, you'll see on the floor, they're wearing white shorts. Renaissance is wearing white shorts. Both teams are not going to be able to wear white uniforms at the same time. So, because Gary 21st Century is closer than 4 hours away, they are going to be the ones that are going to go to the school to get the uniforms properly colored to wear tonight here. So we are going to have a delay before the tip of the ball game. So someone from Gary 21st Century is going back to their school, getting the right color uniforms, and we'll be able to rock and roll tonight.
Somebody wasn't listening very well. Renaissance 1, 21st Century nothing. Like my wife always tells me, you never listen to me. You never listen to what I'm saying back there.
Marriage sounds awesome. Maybe one day I will be married myself.
You may, but for now, you're a free man on this Thursday night, and you're in the right region to be that way.
I could buy a whole lot of fireworks and go to a lot of really good places to eat and have some libations. A lot here. We'll talk about that moving forward. This area, the region, South Shore, Lake Michigan, a great place for sports and entertainment and a whole lot of stuff. And a great location to have all of these games. And I'm sure that you guys, some guys on your crew have never been here before, so hopefully they've enjoyed their stay, and hopefully it's a non-slick ride home tonight for you guys back to Detroit.
We enjoyed a nice pancake breakfast this morning that you opted out of.
I did.
Respectfully, you declined, but you declined.
You know I'm not really a breakfast guy on the road, and it messes up the whole rest of my day.
But you're a team guy.
I am.
And it was a team function, and, you were missed.
Well,
I'm just to say you're missed.
I was the one that gave you that recommendation. So me doing that.
Which makes it even worse that you didn't show up. You gave the right recommendation. The pass was great. And then guess what? You ran back court and you didn't even watch the basket go through.
Heads you win, tails I lose, right? Well, the whole idea was to get everything, as Bill Raftery would say, get my puppies set for the broadcast that I had the play-by-play of, which was,
fair,
in a lot of ways, a very interesting game that we saw in our first broadcast for you tonight. But it was one in which Cass Tech was able to hold on and win. Now we move on to this game.
Yep.
And hopefully once the uniforms are in there, we'll see a Gary 21st Century school that is fairly new. They're a school that started in 2005, and they've had a couple of iterations, but they've won 9 sectional titles. That is the first rung of the state tournament here in Indiana. They've won 4 regional titles, too, and that's the next level. And then there's semi-state and state. And Gary 21st Century has been really close to that next level, much like where Renaissance would like to be, too.
And this is a team in 21st Century, Russ, you look at it, they've got 4 guys averaging double figures in their starting 5. I mean, I know they're short on energy perhaps tonight, the double or the overtime game last night that they won, but this is also a team that can play a 2-3 zone, and perhaps it's that kind of a night for 21st Century where you lean on the old 2-3 Syracuse zone.
And it's interesting, and you have a lot of experience with that Syracuse zone previously in your broadcasting life, so you saw all about that. I don't know if Gary 21st Century has shoot-arounds or not, which is a no-no in the Jim Boeheim Syracuse circles. But
that's right.
This is a team that ran into a tough, and as Coach Scott mentioned it, more polished team in Crown Point, had one of their worst games. They've lost a couple. They've lost 2. They've won 7 of them now. Hayes is their top player, as we talked about, went down with a strained kneecap, came back after some treatment, had light practice leading into this game tonight, so Terrence Hayes should be okay. Demetrius Williams is another one, Chad, that I know you're excited to see tonight too.
He's just that big for them that does it with 11 rebounds, 6'4", really their only big, and it matches up well with a Renaissance team that also has really just one big on the floor that plays for them and Brandon Flint.
Yeah, you mentioned about Williams. Coach Scott mentioned this is a guy that has some polish. He can flourish once he gets into another year full on of hoops, as he talked about with us earlier this week. So a lot of good individual pieces, a lot of good team stuff here. And I know that you guys with the prep saw Renaissance a couple of games ago, and a pretty good one against Country Day that you were able to see.
Yes, sir. Here's some highlights from that Country Day Renaissance game, and this is Renaissance having their way in the contest. And I'll tell you what, the big guy in this game that stood out was Jaden Miller, a guy that's known, Russ, for not even trying to hunt his own offense. He was the Batman to the Robin, Jordan Sigmund.
Well, Sigmund got his shots in, that's for sure. He had a third of the shots in the game. He got to 33 points, went 12 of 24 from the field, had 5 threes. You mentioned Miller, a class of 2026 guard, had 20 in the game. Lance Stone had 22. Some things that stood out in the box score to me. Biggest lead was 20. They were down on the boards, though, 35-24. And when you have a guy that fills it up at 33 points in the game, that's not going to matter that much. Will it tonight? We're not sure. They were up by 5 at halftime. It was the fourth quarter that sealed it. And what you saw was them closing. A real rise of Renaissance in the fourth quarter. Won that period 26-13.
Yep, a big one for Renaissance. They're getting set tonight on the road to win in Indiana. They're trying to take on a local club, 21st Century. And we'll see this matchup coming up. And we'll meet the starters when we come back to Hammond, Indiana. This is Morton High School. And it's down to the final game of the Mac Jelks Invitational. We're the Prep on coverage, on tour in the region.
It's a tour.
It's fun. Back after this with more.
Hi, I'm Nick DePonio, and this is HVAC.
Rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great. Participate!
Every morning when I rise, my dream lives in me. This is my kingdom, a wonder world that's always changing, where great champions stand victorious. Here, we celebrate what makes us different. We share our creativity, and we grow stronger, preparing for the world we will make together.
I am.
I am one of Detroit's next legends. It's our time to rise.
In today's ever-changing mortgage lending world, the importance of true professionals has never been greater. At Success Mortgage Partners, we want you to have the experience of a lifetime. Founded and owned by Catholic League alumni, our family-centered business keeps your interest at heart as we help you navigate this turbulent market with ease. If you or a family member has a mortgage need, please call me, Owen Lee, at 734-822-9792.
covering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss.
McKinley scores!
Let's meet the starters for tonight's ball game for the visitors from Detroit, Michigan. 65-65 outer drive in the city's north side. It's Detroit Renaissance coming in off a loss against West Bloomfield. They'll start it like this. Malachi Jackson, a big 3-and-D guy at one of the guard spots, 6'1", senior. Jordan Sigmund, he's a long, lanky guard, long arm, 6'2". He can really score it. He had a big 33-point performance last weekend. He's got Power 4 offers from Alabama and others, more coming. An unofficial from Michigan last week. Big-time player, uncommitted, Jordan Sigmund, the junior. Jaden Miller, a guard in this offense that really just gets his off of junk points. He's a hustle player, 20 points against Country Day last weekend. Brandon Flint in the front court, their big man, the senior at 6'3". And Lance Stone, Mr. PSL, the top player in Detroit last year as a junior, 5'8" guard. He's committed to University of Detroit Mercy. He's played for Mark Montgomery. And the head coach is John D. White, the head coach for Renaissance. And he's got great experience, a good ball club. And they've got a 30-point win over Cass Tech earlier this year. But they've also just lost to West Bloomfield. And so, as Russ mentioned earlier, will the Detroit Renaissance team please stand up? Which real team? Maybe we'll see that tonight, Russ.
This is the longest layup line in Renaissance school history. Also, you memorized the address of their school.
Yeah, it's got a ring to it. And it's the former home of Detroit Catholic Central. So they had a ring to it, a song, and it's a whole thing. But
oh, okay.
And we were just there. Yeah,
got it.
I don't usually memorize addresses, but 65-65 outer drive's got a ring in Detroit, and it's the home of Renaissance, a beautiful school.
I know by memory how to get to your mansion, so I don't even need to put it into Google Maps any longer. But yes, to your point, there are a lot of great numbers, for sure, of this Renaissance team. I'm excited to see them play. And that Cass Tech win was a big one, winning by 30 that way. And we saw Cass Tech in our first game of coverage tonight against Michigan City. And so, sure, on their best day, they are really, really good. And I asked you about West Bloomfield and what that loss would mean. I would bet that sticks in their craw a bit as they turn the calendar to 2025.
21st century. Let's meet this club from Gary, Indiana at 724 Washington Street. I'll give both addresses to be fair.
Is that accurate? Is that really what their address is?
It is.
It's on the roster.
Well, yeah.
You can read that. Got it.
I'm resourceful, sir. Come on. It's Ronald Mosley at one of the guard spots, 5'9" junior and $150. Ronald Mosley. At the off guard, it's their best player, Terrence Hayes, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. A 6'1" guard with offers from Missouri State, Valparaiso, and others coming. Jamarion Kelly is one of the forwards at 6'1". Jacoby Donaldson at 10.5 points a game, a junior guard. And as Russ mentioned earlier, they're big, and he's a good one. Lametrius Williams at 18 points, 11 rebounds, 4 steals, and 5 assists a game. What doesn't number 15 do for them at 6'4"?
Yeah, just needs a little bit more season and floor time. Coach Scott had mentioned about him. To go back to Donaldson, comment on him from Coach was really unselfish, not selfish enough. Needs to average around 16 points per game. I remember when I was with the Hornets turned Pelicans and Chris Paul was a rookie in his first 2 years. And I remember making a comment on NBA TV. Listen to me drop all these names. Anyway,
that was good in 20 seconds too.
Yeah, I made the comment that Chris Paul needed to read the book Being Selfish Is, because he was too unselfish of a player. And so nowadays, unselfish is cool. It really is.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I mean, like, you weren't selfish. You gave me a play-by-play game in game one because you knew that you were getting this play-by-play game now. But all that's to say, Donaldson's a good one. Williams is a good one. And they come from good stock, and this should be a good game.
You have to give it up so you can get it back, they say, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday we did St. Mary's and Cathedral. It was a dandy. Cathedral won it by a few points. And St. Mary's led by a big margin in that game. Cathedral came roaring back in a couple of power weights. Today, earlier, Russ told you, Cass Tech knocked off Michigan City in a game that they handled most of the way. 29-point lead at one point late in the third. But Michigan City clawed back to make it an 8-point game. Credit to them. But Michigan won, Indiana won as we head into this finale. Renaissance against 21st Century. And look, we talked about Renaissance, some of their prime players from the past. 21st Century's got a nice history as well, even though they've only been open since 2005.
Yeah, Eugene German, the all-time leading scorer at Northern Illinois. He passed another player from the region, and folks from the old MCC and now Horizon League and old MAC fans, I say old, like really old, but not that old. TJ Lux was the all-time leading scorer. So Gary passed Maryville in DeKalb for the all-time record, and so that's one of the players that that played at 21st Century. And again, it's a new school,
right?
Newish. She might go to 21st Century at some point, but it started as a grade school in 2005. It's a private school, and then it extended out to grades 7 through 9, and then 7 through 12. They are academically connected to Ball State. They're a charter school. 1,300 kids. They're Class 2A in the state of Indiana. And James Scott, their head coach, as mentioned, all-time leading scorer. Still at Arkansas Little Rock, 1,731 points. He played there in 87-91. And he knows Darrell Walker, the head coach at Arkansas Little Rock. And in our comments with him, we talked about that the Trojans need to play with a little bit more pace. They play in the 50s as far as points go, and I think Coach Scott said, yeah, they could rev it up a little bit. But Sidney Moncrief was a name he dropped, and Darrell Walker, and so there are a lot we could go name by name by name at all of these schools, and it just shows that you guys pick good games to broadcast on the Prep.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss.
McGinley scores!
And it's going to be a challenge for us. I mean, they're a really talented football team. I think everybody knows that.
Four wide receivers. Pressure. Steps up. Marshall wants to run again. Cuts down the middle of the field. All alone. Touchdown! Warriors! What a cut. First, life gives us many. From buying your first car or first home to starting a business, Alliance Catholic Credit Union is here for you every step of the way. From checking and savings accounts and youth accounts to auto loans, mortgages, business needs, and financial planning. A full-service financial institution with over 70 years of experience. We're committed to serving your firsts, seconds, 50ths, and every day in between. Alliance Catholic Credit Union. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Take a look at us right now. We are everything that will be. We are an engine of progress that has been forged by generations, driven by the knowledge that each student in every classroom has the potential to be their best self and inspire us all. We are teachers, parents, families, all ready to do our part. We know when students rise, we all rise. We are Detroit Public Schools Community District.
As the voice of Michigan's student athletes, the Student Advisory Council's role
is to convey the message of how high school sports should be played.
We are responsible for helping the MHSAA maintain a positive and healthy atmosphere
in which interscholastic athletes can thrive.
We believe that athletes should be competitive,
sportsmanlike, and excel academically.
We believe that students in the stands should have fun,
but not take away the focus from the game.
We believe coaches should act like teachers,
helping student athletes develop while still keeping high school sports in perspective.
We believe that parents should always be positive role models
and support their child's decisions.
We believe officials commit their own time to high school sports,
and respect should always be shown and given to them.
The most important goal for student athletes is to enjoy high school sports while keeping a high level of respect between all those involved in the games.
Enjoy the game.
Chad Bush, Russ Eisenstein back with you. In northwest Indiana, in a town they call Hammond, just south of Chicago by what? You're the resident geographical expert.
Take you about 40 minutes. Get to downtown from here, depending on traffic on the Dan Ryan. And I follow the Prep on X, on Facebook. I'm not as active on the Instagram, though I should be more so.
Yeah, you should be. That's what the kids are into. And what about TikTok?
No, I'm not on the...
Well, you're on Snapchat every 5 seconds. I guess we need to get a Snapchat to follow you. I'm just kidding. I was kidding, by the way.
Well,
I just knew you had the app.
I guess we'll see. You might need to update that graphic.
We might. Austin Sonnenberg might need another social media to throw us on.
Well, there's that Blue Sky, too.
I don't know what that is, but we can talk off air about it if you want.
Oh, it's just another vehicle to get the good work of the Prep out. And I can tell you this.
Yes.
You know my father.
Yes.
Had a conversation.
Shout out Mark Eisenstein.
Mark and Barb are watching tonight.
What up, Mark and Barb? She making mashed potatoes and
Not
meatloaf?
At 9 o'clock Central Time, but they are the best in the world.
Oh,
the glowing comments from my father on this entire production, and he watches and listens to everything. I had to pull the phone away from my ear with the comments that were just glowing about the entire production here. It's really impressive, and I'm glad you guys are here and glad to be a part of it, and glad that we now have uniforms to be able to get this thing going.
It's a lot of folks that make it possible to bring it to you the best we can. Alex Westfall, your executive producer, leads that charge. Thank you very much.
Is he working with me for the G League game coming up in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, unless he's somewhere else. He's all over, but
Got it.
Most likely that will be your captain that night.
Ready for it.
So, look, this is a Renaissance team that's been tested a bit, Russ. They did go down to St. Louis, the Lou, and play some exhibition games, and so they've been on the road together. Does that have a value going into this game?
I would think so, to be able to know that you can go on a neutral floor and play. As you mentioned, and for those that might not be aware, going down to St. Louis and playing those games, beating a school from Milwaukee, blowing out Milwaukee Juno, then losing to a team from Covington, Louisiana, and losing to a team from St. Louis as well. Those are exhibition games because the state of Michigan doesn't allow those games to count if they are not in bordering states.
That's right.
But to your point about being able to take on a team that you haven't seen very much on a neutral floor, that has to help tonight.
Yeah, and to travel together. Some guys in high school, I mean, these guys are taking 10-minute bus rides. These are different. You got to bond.
It's like a road trip with the Muppets. Everybody wants that.
Who doesn't? Who wouldn't want that?
I would.
The Swedish chef. Lance Stone gets a shot up, missed it short, and chases down his own miss, and that's scrappy Lance, and that's another possession, and that's an assist.
Wow.
Hockey assist from Lance Stone, the fresh feed in the finish, and Rennie's on the board early, 2-0. 3-ball, right wing, no. They'll call it a long 2, but that's number 1. That's Ronald Mosley, I believe.
Well, we might have, as you mentioned, numbers that might not correspond with our roster based on the fact that these are the black uniforms and they were wearing white uniforms before. We'll try to get it right.
We'll try. I think this is Ronald Mosley, and he sticks it to tie it at 2. I knew this would happen. I warned you of this.
Well, everybody else looks to be okay, I think.
I think you're right. Dead spot left 3. No. Offensive rebound. And a rip back by Jamarian Kelly, the senior at 6'1". He attacks. Glasser, no, but a foul. And it's Jaden Miller with a wall-up foul. Free throws coming for the local 21st Century Club.
If you watched our first game tonight, Cass Tech against Michigan City, it was basically like basketball in a blender. If you watch the whole way. If you're watching this one from the start, you are wondering, is this going to be the same frenetic sort of pace and style? Potentially, based on what we've seen here in ball pressure and movement.
It's a fast-paced offense both ways. A little more controlled, I would guess, from Renaissance, but Lance Stone, the University of Detroit Mercy commit with a basketball high on the right. Back to Sigmund, coming off his 33-point night last Saturday against Country Day. Uncommitted, and that's a travel in the mid-post. Brandon Flint, their big, with a shuffle of the shoes. Brandon Flint, a guy that, utility guy. They really like him as a glue guy, screens and rebounds well. This is Lamitrius Williams on the wing. Kick to the corner, that's Kelly with a miss. Here comes Lance Stone on the sprint. Chest pass stolen. Was looking for Sigmund. Ripped away by Hayes, their best player. Kick corner three, got it. That's Donaldson, and he's got a quick 5, and it's a 4-point lead for the locals.
Really unselfish. That's the right amount of selfish there. Open, took it, hit it.
On the drive, Sigmund out of bounds. It'll stay with the Phoenix of Detroit Renaissance.
I could tell you already, I love 12 and the red number on a black jersey, because after that made 3, he contested and made it difficult on this side of the floor.
Two-way player, that's Lance Stone. No good with a 3. Foul that'll stay here. And that was Miller going up. And some fire in midair. And here's another look at that miss. And the foul that they'll get, it looks like it's on Donaldson. That'll be his first. Ball out of bounds, inbound play. Count it for number 5, Jaden Miller.
20 points in the win over Country Day. And again, the last time out, it was a 3-point loss to West Bloomfield. And so trying to get that loss out of it and play more like they did against Country Day, and that's a good start.
That's a loss that a lot of folks scratch their heads at when you see what Renaissance has done this year. The 30-point win against Cass Tech doesn't line up with a 3-point loss to West Bloomfield.
One thing that James Scott, head coach at 21st Century, said about Detroit in general and playing teams from Detroit, he knows how tough teams from Detroit are. He said when he was at a different school at Bowman Academy, they played in the Southfield tournament often, and said that seeing all those teams there, they know that they develop top talent and tough talent, and apparently we had a basketball change here. The previous gamer did not work well, and so now we have a change, yeah.
Yeah, try new ball. The new uniforms, try new uniforms.
We're all just workshopping this.
Halftime, we'll have new shoes. Inbound play works magically, and it's Lamitrius Williams that finishes it off. He leads them with 11 rebounds a game and 18 points, the number 2 scorer. Take to the hole, and that's Jordan Sigmund with that lefty glide to the glass.
We can report that with these jerseys, Terrence Hayes, who has the ball right now, is wearing number 1.
Thank you, sir. Shot missed, rebound. Picked up by Miller. Stone on the run.
10 is Ronald Mosley, who just missed that 3.
Appreciate that.
What a pass.
How about it? Left block lay in good. And there he is. That's Terrence Hayes, who's been offered by Missouri State and Valpo. Foul on the far sideline. That'll be a block. And it'll go on Terrence Hayes. That'll be his first and the team's second.
You know I love the Missouri Valley Conference.
Oh, yeah.
He has a look of him, Hayes, from a makeup, body type, all of that, production of a Valley guard.
Yeah.
I mean, he really does.
Who's that? Freeman, who is the guard from Valpo? Guy with 2 names?
Freeman Liberty, who went on to DePaul. And so, yeah, here in the region, Valpo, of course. It'd be good for him to stay home, maybe. Or maybe he likes the Ozarks. Who knows?
I know you love the Ozarks.
Who doesn't?
3 balls long, saved out of there by Miller, who lost it. Stolen back by Hayes. And a reset. for 21st Century. The double team's a steal, 2-on-1, now a 1-on-1 Miller against Hayes, and it was blocked. Miller again.
Wow.
And it was too strong on the rush job.
Just didn't have to happen. Got the steal, needed some help, didn't have the right angle, could have pulled it back. Learning moment there.
Donaldson has it picked from Sigmund, who lays it in. Flipped it in the air and tapped it in, and the bonus.
Wow. Really good work without fouling. And here's the lead of the break that was swatted away by Hayes. And here is a nice glide to the goal by Sigmund. He extended the ball too. It's just a really good athletic play because he knew the defender was trailing him, and so make it a little easier for yourself to get towards the goal. He did, and he caps a three-point play. And remember, he had 24 shot attempts in the game that you guys saw against Detroit Country Day.
Big piece of what they do. That's a travel, perhaps, no. Call it a foul on the floor before the shot. It looks like they're going to get Lance Stone with a push.
So off screen, I don't think all three officials were on the same page because one of the officials on the baseline was ready to give the ball to Renaissance to inbound. However, it will stay with 21st Century Prep.
Interesting. Terrence Hayes to trigger. This is Williams, their second best player, and he scores it. This is a physical specimen, and he's making his splash early.
Splitting two in the air and using the bank.
Fine looking player.
I don't think, at least early, we're seeing legs of a team that played in overtime last night.
No, they're looking confident. Sigmund for three, no good. Yet to hit a three in this game is Sigmund. 1 of 4 is Renaissance. Lance Stone yet to really get going in the contest.
Nice.
Count that.
High banker up and down. Yeah, the use of the backboard and the angles to be able to do it.
3-point game, Renaissance on top.
That was Demetrius Williams on the high bank.
Sigmund, kick to the corner, Miller for 3. Heels off, offensive rebound, and a rejection. Third of the night for 21st Century, and the leak out lay-in is good and nearly stolen. How about it? That's a finish for number 10, and that is Ronald Mosley, the junior guard.
Must be the red hair, which is a good style approach. It just looks cool as you run down the floor.
Started with Hayes on that rejection. He can do it on two ends, Russ.
This is a subtle point, and you just don't know. In AAU ball, you're generally playing games all day. Renaissance, I'm not sure if they had a shoot-around prior, but maybe they've been in the hotel all day, and so the use of legs, we're around college basketball a lot, and so that's a standard thing, but it's a subtle thing about how Renaissance got ready for this game tonight.
Yep. It's a rip drive by Miller that's nice and cuts to 5. Cougars attack, dump down low, lay in good by Elijah Musadik, but the setup from Hayes was special.
It's being an available passer, being willing to pass the ball. And it works on the defensive end too.
Steal, Hayes takes it away and rocks the baby in. 9-point lead for the Cougars, and Renaissance on their heels late in the first.
That's a D1 move. It's just a simply D1 move.
Stone to get on track, forced it up, and the foul by Mosley. Here's another look at the big time behind the back loopity-loop in, a D1 play you mentioned by Hayes.
And a nice job, Renaissance getting to the foul line. Maybe that settles things down here.
Stone yet to get on track. He was also slow to get on track against Country Day last Saturday, but he would end up putting up 20 points in that game, most of it coming in the second half.
Has a good release at the foul line too.
Yep. Coach's son.
Yeah. Jinx. Yeah.
Oh, man. Hayes steps into one over Stone and sticks it from the left side. And that runs the lead back up to 11, the largest. Sigmund the other way. Williams swats it. It's a block party in the region.
So what you're seeing is a team from a program that has sectional championship and regional championship pedigree. And guys that have gone on to be big-time scorers on the Division I level.
A lot of pride. Sigmund swipes it away. Back to Sigmund for three. Splash City. Oh, the Phoenix needed it. And their power 4 player popped one in from distance.
Made threes. We didn't see many of them in our first game tonight. And now for Renaissance, that's their first.
Timeout on the floor before the turnover. Crowd getting antsy. But James Scott was all over it like a cheap suit. And he saves his team a possession as we keep it here in Northwest Indiana in a town they call Hammond. Here's another look, Russ, at this triple by Sigmund that was very timely.
I had to have it. And I think just based on ball movement and making yourself available to hit those shots, that's something we're going to see as we move forward. These are two good teams. And the pace early on, frenetic, and as we mentioned, basketball in the blender, I think that'll settle down a little bit.
Look at the numbers so far. 6 of 15 is Renaissance. That's 40%. Just 1 of 4 from downtown. And early on, the numbers look good the other way as well for the home team in 21st Century and the Cougars. Let's get a look at the court. John D. White trying to get his Phoenix ready to compete in the final 45 seconds.
End of the quarter. And we'll see if 21st Century can add on to the lead. A ball club that lost to Crown Point 68-50, lost to Noblesville on December the 27th, so a couple Saturdays ago, 50-41.
All in that same Noblesville tournament. Reverser, no good. Stick back, Terrence, yes. Second chance opportunities. Number 1 on tilt. He's got 9 right now. Lance Stone with 1 shot. Ten-point lead for 21st Century. Stone. Step back pass, lay-in, blocked and lost by Alfonso Harris. And protection of the rim, a theme for the Cougars in this first quarter. A 10-point lead, Russ Eisenstein, on plays like this defensively.
I guess it was a two-way option there. If you like the matchup, take it one-on-one. A little bit late in the timer for a do or die at the horn. I think Renaissance probably wishes they got a little something out of that when they bled the clock at the end of the quarter.
Look, everybody wanna go and talk. At the same time, gotta walk. Better yet, run, go, hit a lick, divvy up with my homies, and we do it all again.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss.
McGinley scores!
'21st Century in Indiana, just down the street in Gary. The Wolves Den, 7th largest gym in Indiana, 8th largest in the country. It's 4A school, and the Cougars 7-2. Eugene Germany, a guy you know quite well, the all-time leading scorer at NIU.
Yeah, they called him Gino, Eugene German, and he was in shooting distance when he got in the gym, but he could also get to the rim. Just a really, really talented guard for sure, who, much like we're seeing here from Terrence Hayes, could fill it up.
Hayes with a bucket. He has 11. The answer the other way. 3-ball no good by Harris. Sigmund fights for it. Stone with a triple answer. No good. Renaissance scrappy, and they get a reset. Malachi Jackson back out to Harris. No good with a 3. And helter-skelter the other way. Attack lay-in good. And that is Elijah Musaddiq with his second bucket.
Musaddiq has some good music to his game, too. Making himself available, opportunistic, not one of their top scorers, but having a good start.
Lance Stone with a 16-footer that rattles out, and it's touched last by Miller in Renaissance. How can you explain this 21st century run right now being led by Hayes?
Finishing at the rim.
Yeah.
Using situational breaks really, really well. Lining up the pieces really, really well.
They have taken advantage of Renaissance pressure. Attack of the rim again. It continues. And the bonus, that is Demetrius Williams.
And on this replay, all right, you'll see an available for a drop-off there on the right block. You also saw there was wing right as an option too. So it's not just the drive, it's giving your driver options. Very impressed by what I'm seeing from James Scott's ball club.
Mind you, they played last night in overtime and won 80-78 over Morton, the host school. So even more impressive. Can they keep it up? Will endurance become a subject? Sigmund from 19, and he flushes it home. John D. White wants a timeout and will take it with them. So with a bucket by Sigmund, can this get them a little closer? Renaissance on the run, down 15, back after this. Your Catholic faith, it's at the core of who you are, what you do, and the decisions you make. At Alliance Catholic Credit Union, we make your faith and finances work together. From home needs to business needs, from school to retirement, we've got the financial well-being of our Catholic community covered. Visit us today and see how your faith and finances can work together. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. Detroit Renaissance 3-2 on the year, 2-0 in league play, two-time Class B state champion, 06 and 04. Tawan Porter played out west for the Ducks. And look, this is a formidable program with a lot of respectable alumni and prominent players in history.
Moving high school stars on to D1 levels. And yeah, the Oregon Ducks and what they've done with Dana Altman. They got a big one coming up tomorrow night against Illinois. We'll see that Big Ten game for the first time. It's wild to see it, but Illinois going out to Oregon to play in the Big Ten.
It's crazy. That Oregon team played in football, I believe, last night. That was a wild result. How do you explain it?
I don't know. Oregon beat Ohio State in the regular season and then just was not ready against the Buckeyes in the playoffs.
Renaissance trying to reset, down 15. Sigmund pull up three long. Three-point shooting's been troublesome for the Renaissance, just 1 of 8 in this game. All the way, Terrence to the 10. Count it for Hayes and the foul.
If you are an impartial observer tonight, you tune in to see players like this finish at the rim like that. And based on his recruitment, you mentioned the schools, we're not talking that everybody that's sensational is going on to Duke or to Michigan, Michigan State, whatever. Not to say that he wouldn't like to go there, and who knows about his recruiting. But you could have outstanding players looking at levels like Valpo, like Missouri State, or wherever else. Who knows where it will go? Who knows who's watching this broadcast tonight?
Yep.
But that's finishing with the three-point play.
Strong-looking player and finishing at the rim. Continuous theme. Sigmund misses the shot. Right there is the 6'1" Terrence Hayes for the rebound. And the junior quick ahead and a travel. And that's going to go on Ronald Mosley, the junior guard.
So these are important possessions now for Renaissance because you force the turnover. And that was ball pressure there. I think Mosley might have thought that there was a foul coming on the contest, the double. But can you link stops with points?
Lance Stone all the way. Scoop too strong.
Good idea, just didn't finish.
Yep. That's been the difference tonight. The other way, this is Williams again. At 6'4", good athlete. Double-double is what he averages.
And here we are again at 18. That has been a big number in the now 3 games that we've delivered to you from Hammond.
It's a team in Renaissance that can really shoot the 3. Not on track yet, 1 of 8. Corner 3, in and out. Fight for the rebound. Reverse, got it. We've seen it from Terrence Hayes from inside and outside and everywhere in between. He's got this to a 20-point game and another steal, this time by Musadik. Williams to the rack, reverse, got it. 22-point lead. And 21st Century's looking like they've got fresh legs despite playing last night and winning in overtime.
This is the danger zone now for Renaissance.
Lance Stone looking to make a move. Stone scoreless, just 1 point. No field goals yet. And it remains that way here with a Williams rebound.
Renaissance shooting 28% from the field. Flip side, 73%. And a lot of that is at the rim for the Cougars.
Timeout on the floor. We'll come right back with more from the Mac Jelks Invitational. Chad and Russ with you. Thanks for watching Late Night on the Prep.
What makes people stand in this line like this for 3 hours? Because we're not Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons. These donuts are made fresh daily, and it's made with love and consistency. We got the same ingredients. It didn't change. The people know that. And that's why they standing out there.
Coverage continues from Northwest Indiana. And our coverage is brought to you by Danny Schwab State Farm Insurance Agency. Happy to help residents of Illinois and Indiana with insurance and financial service needs. Wishing a happy and healthy new year 2025 to all. Please call 708-758-6400. I know that number by heart. To speak to one of their licensed insurance professionals. Check out their website at DannySchwab.com for more information. Or visit the office. I know that address, 149 East Main Street, Glenwood, Illinois. Danny Schwab, one of my lifelong friends. I know the Schwab family so very well. Get your insurance and all the sports talk that you need. My father and his father were best friends, grew up going to games together, and I learned about insurance from the Schwab family very well. And so thanks to him for supporting this endeavor last night and tonight.
Thanks to Danny and the Schwabs. And yeah, we'll never forget Rick.
Good man. Good man.
You bet. Shot up short, second chance opportunity, not a third for Renaissance, who struggled to get really everything tonight. And they're in a scramble mode here as well. And we don't know who has the basketball. I think it's Renaissance. But nothing easy, Russ. And how about the only thing easy in the building is Terrence Hayes. 8 of 8 from the floor, 18 points and 5 rebounds. It's been quite a start for Hayes.
Is that good?
I think it's up there.
That's pretty good.
One of the best starts in the region tonight, I'd say. Sigmund trying to get going. He rocks the baby to bed and off the glass. And let's see if Sigmund, number 3, can't get things going for the Phoenix.
Get to the rim. Don't settle for jump shots. Don't settle for off-balance shots. You might get to the line, might finish. That's a good start for Renaissance.
Jordan with a dozen of the 20 points. That's an attack by the big Elijah Musadik, who puts up 10.5 a game.
And Hayes is a willing passer, too, and he puts it right where it needed to be, chest level to a finish.
Sigmund with a crafty finish, couldn't get it to go down. Hayes on the run again. Terrence to the right block, and the post pass is beautiful. Matthew Campbell with a finish. Other way, Miller had it swatted. Big time block party continues. Steal here, Lance Stone, 2-on-1. Lance behind the back to Miller with a fabulous finish and a fine share of the sugar by Mr. PSL.
That was as smooth as that Rays Caribbean. earlier. That was a little Caribbean kind of deal there to finish at the rim. I liked it.
A little Caribbean kick. Steele Miller. Numbers. Stone for 3, needs it. Short. 1 of 9 from distance for Rennie. Not Renaissance-like numbers. Terrence Hayes from the left block, and it's too easy. He's got 20, and the lead is 23. Two-handed finish the other way for Alfonso Harris, one of their top reserves off the bench.
I don't know if the Prep is in the business of encouraging college coaches to take a look at a player that you're covering.
Yes, we are.
Okay, well, there he is right there. And he'll make the decision that's best for him, but he's going to have options, and it's going to be interesting to see if Valparaiso can hold on to him. It'd be a great get for the hometown Beacons. But anybody else that's taking a look, you and I know ball, and boom. Not only offensively, but using the angles well and just sliding the goal. And his teammates must like him too, because they're willing to pass to him as well.
They are. It's been a clean look tonight from that guy, number 1. Terrence Hayes puts up 21 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. We didn't get his blocks, but I mean, this guy already has, I think, 3 in this game. That's a star performance tonight.
And it's a subtle deal, but he went to everyone on their bench, including, I don't know if that's a trainer or manager or who that is on the edge of the bench.
Yeah.
But made sure to dap everybody up as he went to the bench. I like that.
I do too. I think that's something of note. A community and a connected team. Let's see if Renaissance can't make a run. Down 22 with 98 seconds left. Sigmund no good, and it's been a lot of threes and little results for Renaissance. In control, 21st century. The Cougars from Gary, Indiana. Rip, drive, trip, inadvertent, no call. Miller on the run. Left wing Stone. Miller 3. Theme continues. Sigmund with a pesky rebound and the triple team and a timeout, John D. White. We'll keep it right here with 61 seconds left, and Renaissance in a tussle just to get anything open look-wise offensively.
I don't know what the rest of the season's going to look like from Renaissance's perspective, but this, how they handle this, will be remembered moving forward. Because, and you could take a look at what 21st Century is bringing to the table here, I would wager to guess that they'll see a 21st Century out of Gary somewhere down the line in the meat grinder that is a regular season schedule of Detroit Public League basketball.
And
just a hunch.
And they won't have to wait much longer. They'll have Southeastern, a rebuilding program under James Wu on the 7th of January. However, on the 10th is when that game will come, Russ, against Detroit Martin Luther King. That is when Renaissance will face a team. Not that they're exactly like this team. They're a little different, but that'll be their next challenge, and that will be, look, they already knocked off Cass Tech. Next is King, who's waiting, who lost to Cass Tech, and now they're saying, all right, you want to make a move? You got to get through us too now. Miller down low, lays it in, and that's a paint touch that you asked for, and that gets it back to a 20-point game.
And out of bounds play and a timeout. Good job.
Corner, step back, triple, front iron miss, no. Run out, Sigmund on the run. To the rack, got it. That's Sigmund Jordan, and that's another bucket for him. He's got 14 on the night.
It's 4 points, but it's 4 very important points. After a timeout, out of bounds, get a stop, get a bucket at the rim. That's huge.
They'll try to get another one here. Fortuitous bounce, and that's how the night is gone. Lay in good for Ronald Mosley. Back the other way with Miller. He lost it. Finally picked up by Harris. Forced up, elbow shot, no. But Renaissance with a chance now to get a couple points. after they wanted that 4-point run to continue, but couldn't get it.
It's head on a swivel. It's swivelly hips. It's make sure you can dribble the basketball. Again, it's basketball in a blender one more time, and it's taxing mentally, but also physically, and maybe you can reset when you're at the free throw line.
Want to thank our friends at Ray's Caribbean Jerk, home of the chicken pizza and the jerk lamb chops. They also had some sliders that were killer.
Oh.
They're out of East Chicago, Indiana. You had that slider. I mean, how good was it?
I mean, the chicken was so perfectly cooked. It was delicious.
Yeah. And you're a picky eater. That means a lot.
I am.
To the rack, laying at the horn is good. Hot knife through butter at the horn. That's Ronald Mosley. And 21st Century on the heels of a win about less than 24 hours ago, looking pretty lively on this Thursday night in Northwest Indiana. How about this half for the boys and the Cougars from Gary?
21st Century, yeah, they are doing it in a century full of offense for them, and looking good as they get to halftime, defending the region well here in Hammond.
The Mac Jelks Invitational, and we're here with the man who is the reason for the season, Greg Jones II, the founder of G2 Hoops and the official host of the Mac Jelks Invitational. Greg, thanks for having us here. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming out. I know it was a nice little drive coming from the Detroit area, but I'm glad you guys were able to come out to see some good high school basketball here in the Midwest during the holiday season.
That we saw yesterday. We're going to see more today, but let's look back at the featured game yesterday that we broadcasted. Cathedral from Indianapolis, a top 5 team in the state, against Orchard Lake St. Mary's, the number 2 team in the state of Michigan, the reigning state champion. And boy, that game turned out to be one of those games where you're like, okay, it's starting to get, okay, it's that game that we envision now. It took some time, but boy, that was a fabulous finish.
It was a great game. I mean, I think we started working on that matchup last summer, and it actually didn't take that much to get it done. But we knew, this is going to be the best platform and environment to have it, being a neutral site and being kind of closer proximity for both teams to travel. I believe both of them had good fan support. They traveled to see them play as well. I mean, that was a good matchup. I know before the season started, that was looked up as a top 50 matchup in the country as well, too. So I think it lived up to the hype. Obviously, Cathedral came back. They really showed that, they are a state champion contender here in the state of Indiana, and they clawed their way back in for a W.
We're with Greg Jones II at G2 Hoops. He's a native of Gary, Indiana, went to Bishop Knoll High School. And Greg, sort of describe to the folks what it is that you do for G2 Hoops and what you do overall for basketball for young men and women in the area.
For sure. So started G2 Hoops LLC back in July of 2017, and what the company is a sports marketing event management company where we specialize in giving a platform to athletes. We initially started at the grassroots level, and now we've worked our way up to the professional level as well. I have a couple players on the WNBA side that we do. We do marketing deals with a couple of NIL kids at the collegiate level as well. And then obviously like the Mac Jelks Invitational here, events that we have where, just give the young men and young women here opportunities to play on a bigger stage and get eyeballs on them early, just to get that visibility for them.
In this region called The Region, as we're learning.
Absolutely.
A proud region of basketball.
Yes.
And bringing in folks from other regions is also important to you, and getting folks together to play in a game that they normally would not.
Correct.
Talk about the strategy involved and how it has evolved for you as the years have gone on.
For sure. So the first year we had 16 high schools from 12 different states coming to play. Obviously, you know, during the inaugural year and a few years after that, the state of Indiana and just like Michigan, we couldn't travel like that to play people, right? I know in Michigan, I think initially was the bordering states, and then in Indiana, it was you had a 300-mile radius.
Right.
As of last year, you know, both states have been a little bit more lenient about who and how we could kind of play. So now, I know you guys still have the border, but you could play anybody that comes into, you know, one of those states that touch Michigan. And in Indiana now, we could go 300 miles radius and meet someone at a neutral site, or they could come here into the state and play us, right? So, you know, in the first year, we had Memorial Catholic from the Bay Area, Central Park Christian from Birmingham, Alabama, Lincoln Prep from Atlanta, Sunrise Christian Academy that people are aware of in Wichita, Wesley Christian. We had a slew of teams that came in. Initially, the first year, when people came to watch, they was like, well, what is this? This looks different. This does not look like these kids look grown. I'm like, no, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have a thing where you think it's levels. It's regionally good, state good, and then it's nationally good. And until you can kind of see that in person, you really don't have an idea of like what's really out there, right? So that was kind of the ideal and really the premise about doing this particular event is being able to bring that type of talent here so that kids and coaches and their supporters and just basketball enthusiasts can just see what it really looks like out there.
Awesome. Well, you brought it all together just fine. What a well-organized event. Teams that come in are excited to play here. Tell us about the namesake behind this event, one of many in which you're part of, the Mac Jelks Invitational. Who is Mac Jelks?
So that's one of my cousins, McKinley Jelks. He's here, though. I don't know where he's at.
Where's Mac?
He's sitting down somewhere. Let me see if I can get him. He's in here. So basically, McKinley Jelks is like pretty much like the godfather of not just basketball but sports throughout Gary, Indiana, and really the area. He ran Biddy basketball, Gary Usorisboro, Hudson Campbell, and he also created and had Midnight League, which basically gave an opportunity for guys that were just out here in the streets to be able to say, hey, for a few hours during the evening, this is a safe haven for you guys. And, you know, we just come here, play basketball, be able to just congregate together and just break bread with each other, right? And for me, it was a thing where he's been around for so long and doing so many things. I was like, no, I'm naming this after you because it was just my way of giving back to him to show that, hey, you've been around basketball and just sports for over, what, now 60 years now?
Wow.
Because he's in his mid-70s now.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just something to do, and he enjoys it, you know. Him and his wife come. He got his little cushion seat over there. He be sitting down, and he enjoys it. You know what I mean? And it's great because like I'm real big about like I have this thing I say is substance in the soil, right? And being able to get back home and be able to, you know, give your flowers to those that are before you. You know, because I'm just a big person like history as well too. And just understanding that, you got to understand where you come from to know where you're going. You know what I mean? So he's here somewhere. I don't know. I'm trying to see.
We'll find him during the game.
Yeah.
We'll get a camera on him during the game.
Definitely. But yeah, so that's what it's named after. Is McKinley Jelks, one of my relatives.
Doing great. Thanks, my man. Thanks for letting us be a small part of this event.
I appreciate you guys coming out. This is awesome. Everything is first class. I've been getting so many comments, texts, and calls about just the broadcast and then the recap videos and everything. You guys are one of the best in the business for sure.
Thank you. So are you. Greg Jones is second from right here in this region. He's from Gary, Indiana, 8th annual Mac Jelks Invitational. Thanks again. We roll on at halftime. We've got second half action coming up right after this. Thanks for watching. We're the Prep. Back to the 8th annual Mac Jelks Invitational right after this. Some highlights of the first half. That was Miller on the drive. This game was tight early, but in fact, it was a Renaissance lead in this game. They led by a couple points, and then a move was made, Russ Eisenstein, and it was started with Mr. Terrence Hayes and has ended with him.
What a half. It's hard to have a better half than what we saw out of Terrence Hayes. Thank you. As we take a look at the stats, your dad's done a great job on those tonight. But we take a look At the numbers for Hayes, 20 points in the first half, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Yeah, that's a pretty good night at the arena. And we take a look at the rest of what he's able to do. 9 and 9 from the field. Perfect from 3 and a free throw in there to boot. Yeah, that's a game for a lot of guys. That's about as perfect as you could be. 3 assists, 1 turn, 2 blocks, 1 steal.
Impressive numbers. Meanwhile, 71% from the floor for the 21st Century Cougars. Not good from downtown, 29%, but they didn't need to be when you shoot 22 of 31 from the floor. Meanwhile, Renaissance was very limited, and they did settle for a lot of three-point attempts. Russ Eisenstein, just 1 of 11 from downtown and 34% from the floor.
And that's the tough part now because you're down 20. You would like to get a couple of threes in there to kind of reshuffle the deck a bit and give an edge as far as possessions your way. But still, you've got to focus on the fundamentals, defense and getting the rim. And we'll see what this ball club that's had some good highs this year and maybe some lows this year, how they even it out the second half of basketball here in the South Shore, Lake Michigan and the region of Northwest Indiana.
Jaden Miller with 10, Jordan Sigmund with 13 for Renaissance. Meanwhile, the 20 from Hayes, and then a nice balance of scoring. Lamitrius Williams, how about 9 points, 8 rebounds, almost a double-double, and 8 points for Ron Mosley. Renaissance basketball, right to left in white. The Phoenix from Detroit and the Detroit Public School League with it. Sigmund, the leading scorer at the break, muscles one in with that left-handed spinner.
You mentioned Detroit, and Detroit Mercy had an overtime win tonight. 78-76 over Robert Morris at Callahan Hall.
Lance Stone committed to Detroit Mercy with a bounce pass. It's off a foot, out of bounds. There you see Lance, Mr. PSL, yet to get on track. Glaring number is 0 points for him. 1 point for him, no field goals in the first half. Similar to what he did against Country Day.
And to continue the thought on Mark Montgomery and Detroit Mercy, that ends a bit of a losing streak, but a couple of good wins. Beat Eastern Michigan, Purdue Fort Wayne, and this one over the Colonials of Robert Morris.
They've been battling a ton of injuries.
Yes.
Stone missed the shot, got it back to Sigmund. Stone trying to get his first bucket, gets an assist opportunity, and a free throw coming for Brandon Flint, who starts the second half.
And this is more like it. Make yourself available, be a willing passer, attack the rim. And in this case, it was the drive and, in that sense, a post-to-post pass, even though it's a guard that's facilitating and getting to the line.
So Flint, utility guy, a guy that they use quite a bit off the ball. Catch and finish. Missed the free throw there. Renaissance shown the ability to score in the second half, come from behind ability. But both free throws come up empty here.
And you mentioned that they're a second half team, and they do have some lopsided wins, so they can score in a hurry.
But it's that defense now. They gave up half 100 in the first half. Stone tips it ahead. Miller wasn't ready, and it's a fresh set for Hayes. Double team in the post. Banker, no. Tip, no. And Renaissance with a 3-on-2. Sigmund to the rack. Count it. Make it Miller, rather. And, hey, look, out of the gate, it's a 6-0 run.
Yeah, really well done to be able to use the break, get in your lanes, finish at the rim.
4-0 run, rather. Right block, out of bounds, back to the Phoenix. It's the sticky hands from that glue guy, Brandon Flint.
It's amazing what offense can do to your defense as well. You get a little juice, get a little bounce because you're doing the right things on the offensive end, and then you're a little bit more engaged. Your dauber's not down on D, and yeah, you force it, and you get another possession.
Stone back to Sigmund, rocking it down the avenue. His shot blocked by Hayes. 3-on-2, break, short, stick back, good. There's that man again, that's 15, that's Williams.
How many Cougars down there in the lane? There were a number of them. They're willing rebounders too.
Cougars working hard late on a Thursday night. Near closing time, played back-to-back nights. Stone with a pass down low on the baseline, and it's saved and traveling on the attempt on the floor by Flint.
And there's something to be said, too, about playing in overtime and then going back home and sleeping in your own bed.
Yeah.
It's not as if that they had to go to the hotel and do all that. They went back home.
The kids do that this time of year with tournaments and back-to-back games.
That's
and they
right.
do it all summer in AAU.
That's right.
But still admirable. Heels off on the three. And the rebound corralled, and here comes Renaissance. Open three, top side, triple, Splash City. That's Malachi Jackson, the third member of this trio. 3-and-D guy, and that's a big one, cuts it to 15.
That's a second made three for Renaissance.
There's a steal on the baseline by Malachi, and it just hit that baseline to nullify the break, give that man time and space. He's dangerous.
And I mentioned in the first half, 18. Well, last night it was an 18-point lead for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Cathedral came back. We saw 18, and it got a little tighter than you would expect in game one tonight. And now it's getting a little tighter, not all the way back, but that threshold's been important.
Stone stole it, then had it stolen. Three ball, no good. Numbers on the run. Sigmund throw ahead. Kick to Stone, rip, drive, bump, no call. And finally a call on Flint, as the Phoenix just can't get anything settled on the offensive end.
Yeah, a lot of hands flailing there and a lot of contact on both sides. And so here it's a 15-point advantage for 21st Century.
Flynn with a reach in. And it's a technical foul on Lance Stone. So back the other way. We'll get free throws from Terrence Hayes. John White has praised Lance Stone and how he's been able to control his emotions, been a better leader this year. But sometimes it can rear its ugly head in a game that's gone a little lopsided, and a frustration technical perhaps for Lance, who has yet to get a field goal in this game.
Yeah, and it's still important to remember that these are human beings on the floor. They are not computers. And we talk about in the college game, they're 18 to 22-year-olds. Well, in this sense, they're 14 to 18-year-olds in a lot of senses. Yep. And so it's managing the emotion and sometimes controlled rage. And sometimes when it might not be working right, well, 14 to 18-year-old might have that happen. I don't have any children. I don't know that for sure as a parent. But I know that that's a part of the equation, too, and a learning moment there through the technical.
Yep, all learning moments, all building to March. Elbow, Williams, jumper, good. He's put on a pleasant performance as we get a talking to by the assistant to Lance Stone. Jason Gamblin, Darius Gee, Vincent Sigmund, Ellis Bernard, Brianna Embry, and Toria Tucker, the bench under the head coach, John White. Rip, drive, Terrence, just off the tip.
On every drive and every bank, you're expecting it to go down.
It's expected. It's his fault. Corner three. Malachi Jackson coming alive. His second triple in the quarter, and it's back to a 16-point lead.
6'1" guard and a senior, and a guy hitting a big shot when available.
Transferred in a year ago, big part of this piece and pie. And so is that fella, Terrence Hayes, who rolls in another. He's got 24. Sigmund lost it, got it back. Will they get it to the hot hand? There it is. There he goes. Malachi with his third triple of the quarter. Timeout, John White. He'll check Lance Stone back in, and there's life for Rennie.
To borrow your phrase, Splash City. Oh, did I do that right?
You did.
All right.
Admirably.
And we got a game. brewing here. A rumble in the region. Don't you dare move. It's 15, but 15 with the bullet on the prep.
Look, everybody wanna go and talk. At the same time, gotta walk it. Better yet, run, go, hit a lick, divvy up with my homies, and we do it all again.
That's John White, 7th season head coach. He came over from Southfield Christian, had some time at Romulus. He is a disciple of Nate Oates and that Romulus program. He's also a Catholic leaguer at the core. Went to Bishop Borges High School, which is now closed in Redford, a travesty. But John was a big part of some great teams. Played basketball at Eastern Kentucky, and he was a captain and a 2-year starter for the Thoroughbreds.
Eastern Kentucky Colonels.
Colonels, doggone it. There's John White doing a great job for Renaissance. His team down 15, and it got the other coach up and fired up. Meanwhile, a leak out and a slam by Lametrius Williams. LW showing off a little more.
Exactly what you want out of a fiery timeout from 21st Century, and exactly what you don't want out of a timeout for Renaissance.
Malachi again, heat checkers high off the heel and into the Indiana night. And here comes the Cougars.
Last dance with Mary Jane.
That's it. Yeah. Steel corner Malachi. Fitting,
song.
Right? We're in Indiana?
That's right.
Very good.
Indiana boys on an Indiana night.
Uh-huh. Corner pass tip. Sigmund couldn't catch it clean. Lance Stone trying to get on track, but that man has been the hot hand, Malachi Jackson. Sigmund forces a 17-footer, and it's off, and 21st Century clears. Williams harassed, finds Terrence, who lays it in with that left hand. Boy, is he crafty and silky.
He's a junior, too. He is not a senior. He's got another year.
Lance Stone, no. Stick back, no. Third time is a charm. Count it for Alfonso Harris, the 6'4" guard, and the sophomore.
Lining things up, maybe. How many possessions can Renaissance get at the close of the third quarter to potentially line up a comeback in the fourth quarter?
Timeout on the floor. We'll take it with them. 1:42 to go. We got a technical? Oh, here's another look. We may be staying here. What do you see, Russ?
I see good use of the angles by Hayes.
That was the bucket.
Yeah.
And then the timeout. We'll keep it here. There was some shenanigans after the play, perhaps. John White not happy with this call. And let's see if we can find it here. Tip back shot, good.
Maybe a
little shove after.
Yeah.
And Lance Stone was involved. As we take a look across the bench at the 21st Century head coach, James Scott.
Yeah, this is a really cool deal here. Arkansas Little Rock, as you see, all-time leading scorer, played down there for the Trojans. Of course, Porter Mosier took them to the NCAA tournament. Now Darrell Walker is their head coach. Indiana Wesleyan, really good program here in the state. 21st Century, there a couple of times, a couple of stints as an assistant coach there, and takes over and mentored a previous head coach that we saw at Michigan City as well. And
Coach
so,
Short.
Yeah, so mentoring head coach Upshaw there. And so you've got a lot of connections between those programs. Michigan City here at Morton and also 21st Century. And we had a really good visit earlier this week as we prepared.
Yes, sir. Said he kind of knew the kids needed some guidance, and here he is, and he's guiding them right now. That's Miller, though, with a lay-in.
And to complete the thought there, you know, during the timeout, John White was coaching his ball club, but clearly here on the 21st Century side, it was a fiery timeout.
Yeah.
which you might not expect if your ball club's up 15-20.
That's right. So, ball out of bounds, baseline right. And this is a trigger in for, what do we got here? Donaldson to trigger. Into Musaddiq, and now the top player with it, Terrence Hayes, been the best player tonight, and he's got it stolen away. Malachi Jackson to Lance Stone, and Lance has his first bucket with a minute to go in the third, and that cuts it to 13.
Long time coming, right? Stone had 20 in the win over Country Day.
Tough luck miss there, protection of the rim, but the follow by Elijah Musaddiq will equate to 2 free throws.
That's too bad from the Renaissance perspective, too, because you got to stop. You just didn't get the rebound after you did good work on the offensive end. And here, just going to get it.
6 of 8 from the free throw line are the Cougars tonight. Musaddiq misses the first. Good numbers on him, 11 points a game, 5.5 rebounds a game, undersized big, but a guy they really trust off the bench at 5'11". Renaissance has won the quarter 19-12.
There was some jostling at the spokes of the lane.
It's getting a little physical. Lance high off the glass, and he got it. He's getting a little hot. He's got 4 straight, and they've cut it to 11 with 30 seconds left and a forced turnover. And here is a Renaissance run. Russ.
We were asking how many possessions could they get at the end of this quarter? And that's a wonderful take. And again, guards these days use the backboard so well to finish. And then it's the defensive work to earn more possessions. This is a really nice job by Renaissance here to close at the third quarter.
Stone high on the left in attack mode, feeling it. Kick down, right block, shot blocked, stick back, fouled with a hard work from Alfonso Harris, the sophomore. And they'll get the foul on L-Dub Lametrius Williams. Here's another look, Russ.
I've got a tendency to stand up when I'm excited or when something
You're
piques
standing now.
My interest. You can't see it. I'm standing because that was really good work from Renaissance's perspective there to be able to fight, get that rebound, get to the rim, get fouled, and then go to the foul line. And I'm still standing. It's something that brings me joy.
You're still standing. Like Johnny from Sing. I'm still standing.
Wow.
Son loves that one.
That's a good movie, a good documentary.
It's a great movie. Buster Moon, underrated.
Yeah.
A 9-point game, single digits. Down the rack, Terrence on his own puts it up and scores it to make it an 11-point game. Terrence Hayes with 28. Time winding down, and Terrence with an exclamation with 2.5 to go. Woo!
I am now standing.
You're jumping.
And oscillating and moving and hand on my, oh goodness, what a play. Both ends of the floor.
2.5 seconds to work. Trigger Miller into Stone at the horn. Glasser, no. Stick back. Will they count it? No, they won't. The officials say, no, sir, not in this state, not even if it was close. No, that was the right call. 11-point game. Rennie wins the third. The boys from Detroit and Outer Drive with a 9-point advantage in the third. Russ and I will break it down a little further when we come back to the zone they call Morton High School.
In today's ever-changing mortgage lending world, the importance of true professionals has never been greater. At Success Mortgage Partners, we want you to have the experience of a lifetime. Founded and owned by Catholic League alumni, our family-centered business keeps your interest at heart as we help you navigate this turbulent market with ease. If you or a family member has a mortgage need, please call me, Owen Lee, at 734-822-9792.
Lowering the shoulder. Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
64-53 the score. 21st Century leads Detroit Renaissance. With Chad Bush, I'm Russ Eisenstein. Danny Schwab, State Farm Insurance Agency. Happy to help residents of Illinois and Indiana with insurance and financial service needs. Happy 2025. Please call 708-758-6400. Their licensed insurance professionals will walk you through it. Give their website a visit, DannySchwab.com, for more information. On the border of Illinois and Indiana, 149 East Main Street, Glenwood, Illinois. And that's a local sponsor of an event for you guys on the road. It's people helping people, and like a good neighbor, Danny Schwab is there.
We appreciate Danny and him giving back to this local community, and as he always has. We appreciate the Schwab State Farm for backing us on the road on this Indiana night. Right corner three is short. Can Rennie get on the run? No. It was the big boy, though, that halted it with a rebound and giveth with a turnover and a shuffle of the shoes.
It was a 23-14 Renaissance rising, much like Phoenix rise.
I like it.
Get it?
Yep.
To make it an 11-point game, and it feels closer than 11.
Stone wears number 11, and that is a rip through against the best player on the other team. And how about it? That's cut it to 9. Lance Stone heating up. Quick whistle after, though.
Not only did it feel like it was closer than 11, it is closer than 11 now. And I'm not sure what the whistle was.
I think something afterwards was said, and John White wants a timeout. The officials are talking, and I think there's been a lot of jawing afterwards and warnings. But remember, Lance Stone has 1 technical already. I know we're in the state of Indiana, but in the state of Michigan, 2 technicals and you're kicked out. So
I think that's fairly universal.
I think so. The high school level especially. So Renaissance by 9, as close as they've had it. They got a steal. They've got a 3-on-2. Lance Stone on the run, pull up, mid-post jumper, got it. Lance is heating up, and Rennie's got it within 7 with 7 to go.
Rennie rising, and if you're going to pull up there, you got to hit that shot, especially after you got the D stop. He did pull up, he did hit it, and here we are at 7.
Drive, whistle, and the foul is on White's number 3. That's Jordan Sigmund. And for Sigmund, here's another look, though, at the tight defense and the turn and burn that drew the foul. Foul on the floor. Now, 21st Century played last night. I know we've belabored it, but Russ, this would be the time you would think that maybe that catches up to them?
You would think so, but when you attack the rack and get to the line, that helps. But credit Renaissance resurgent defense here. Now, I mean, that's a foul. There's no doubt about it. But they are very engaged on the defensive end. A note on 21st Century, Demetrius Williams, 15 points, 12 boards. Another double-double. And 28 points, Terrence Hayes, who's at the line right now.
Man. Off with the free throw. 6 of 12 tonight from the stripe.
The amazing thing, too, the end of third quarter numbers, 64% for 21st Century, 36% for Renaissance from the field.
Missed free throw. How many times have we seen it tonight? The offensive team gets the rebound off the missed free throw, but the Phoenix this time steal it right back. They're down 7, just under 7 to go in the fourth.
Cougars 6 of 12 from the line.
Stone in and out. Big boy rebound by Williams. The other way, coast to coast. No, stick back, yes. That's Elijah Musaddiq, who's been Johnny on the spot on the backside.
That's 9 for Musaddiq. That's his 3rd rebound, and he's been available.
Yep. Ooh, how about that? Sigmund's available, goes right to the rack and scores it. Hot knife through butter, back to a 7-point game.
So 7's been the number here. That has been the immovable object. Can it get a little closer than that?
It would start with a stop here. Into the paint, Musaddiq, reverse lay-in, good. This boy has been big in the paint despite being undersized.
Yeah, undersized maybe, but he plays big, and he's got a good touch with the offhand.
Put him in double figures. Sigmund the other way, attacking Tim as you asked for.
Yeah, this is starting to get good for the right reasons.
Give Sigmund 21, 7-point game, 5.5 left. Harassment by Miller. Double team, Renaissance pressuring. And the clear out by Donaldson.
And I'll explain the right reasons coming up in a moment.
Donaldson against Lance Stone. Intensity defensively. You said it earlier. It's happening now. That's an offensive foul. Standing in to take the charge is the ever-trusted sophomore, Alfonso Harris, the junior.
So the right reasons. Doing fundamentally sound things, not crazy plays, not helter-skelter frenetic stuff. You're seeing it on both sides of the floor. Renaissance is back in this game for the right reasons. And taking a charge is the right reason. And any coach watching right now would say, okay, that's what you want out of your ball club. And any basketball junkie saying, all right, this is starting to get fun.
Yep, it's certainly building some energy on that Renaissance bench. We'll see what Sigmund can do here with Stone. Stone has gotten going in the second half. He's feeling it. Rip through, lay in, good. And Lance just a little faster than the rest right now. It's a 5-point game.
Rennie rising and past the immovable object to 7 points. It's 5 now.
Lance Stone in this game with 11 to match his jersey number. Floater in the paint, no. Stick back, Williams blocked. Blocked from behind by Harris. Ball loose, lay in, good. And the battle won out by Demetrius Williams again.
It was Elijah Musaddiq with the very deft use of the right hand to tip the ball away.
Ball thrown away by Sigmund, miscommunication. And that quick circle within the 5-point range has been expanded. Big possession here.
Really impressed with not giving up on plays on both sides.
Yeah.
To be able to try to fight to the end to earn another possession.
This is Mosley.
Wow.
Picked off. Mosley somehow got it back. Williams leads the 2-on-2. Pass to the block to who else? Musaddiq. And the bigs are playing catch. Friendly like.
Play that music, Musaddiq. Oh, tickle the twine and just delights.
He's been doing it. Steal, Lance Stone got it back and scores it. Timeout, John White. 7-point game, 3:47 to go.
So in broadcasting, you got storylines and you got things that you want to intertwine in a broadcast and nuggets and this and that. Right now, we're beyond that. Right now, we're at the game. The game is deriving play-by-play and color commentary because it's too fun not to analyze what's going on here. This is not craziness. This is good basketball being played.
Stone has led the charge in the second half. Mr. PSL, 13 points, but still a 7-point game. It's down the stretch we go. And this is a game that, look, we had hoped to have. Renaissance at one point, though, Russ was down pretty big in this ball game. They were down by 20 at halftime.
Biggest lead was 24 for the Cougars.
Yeah. Want to thank our friend for getting us here. It's Greg Jones the second. 219-588-7973. G2 Sports Marketing. And Greg has done a great job. We're glad to be here. A well put together tournament that's seen some outstanding teams and games.
Yeah, it's too natural of something not to have, right? And the coverage of the prep and this high level coverage. And again, there are a lot of people that I know that are tuned in that are really impressed with the polish of this production. And this is a game that's living up to that, to be sure. And sure, stay the night here in the region. They'll be happy to have you.
Austin Sonnenberg wants to stay another night. They're trying to hold him off to keep him here another night. It's getting late right now back home as we near the midnight hour on the East Coast. I make it sound so far, the East Coast.
So far away.
So far away. This is Terrence Hayes that lays it in. Terrence has reached 30, and that's a big bucket, and it gets it up to 9. Stone, harassed, no call. Hayes wants Sigmund. He says, you've got more points than him, I want you. Sigmund to Stone, Stone for 3, splash, City. It's down to 6. Lance Stone on tilt, and he's now got 16 points.
Fifth made 3 of the night, and Stone's first.
Yep. Mid-post banker, good, and a silencer from Ronald Mosley, who's had a great game in this contest.
Fourth player in double figures for 21st Century. He's got 10.
8-point game. Banker somehow living right roll. That's Malachi Jackson with a 10-footer.
I mean, that's Charmin soft off of that heel to stick and fall.
Mosley rip run down the avenue. He fills it in. Oh, the scoring in this last minute or so.
Wow.
Steal by Mosley, picked Malachi Jackson's pocket, and just like that, it's a 4-0 run and a 10-point lead. Back the other way, Sigmund says, I'll score. This seems like an all-star game to me.
It's driving path and finishing at the rim.
Somebody needs a stop, and it's the team from Detroit down 10 with 2 to go.
Yeah.
Down 8, rather.
All of a sudden, it's 2 minutes left in the game.
Game you don't want to end. That's a travel, a little bit too fancy-footed, and they get Jamarion Kelly, the senior, at 6'1".
That was just too open and too much time to probably overthink it.
And not a guy James Scott probably wants with a basketball at the end of the possession.
No disrespect to maybe his shooting ability, but
no.
Yeah.
Lance Stone wants it right now, hunting that 3. Let's see how he sets up Terrence. Back to Sigmund. Kick to the corner. 3 ball on the way. Long. Alfonso Harris, the hot hand. The big Williams dribbling around through guards. And now a timeout by James Scott, who says, I see trouble on the way.
There are some games that you want to end. Not all games are classics. This is a game that you don't want to end. This is too much fun. Both teams giving it everything they've got.
Want to thank our friends for keeping us hydrated. Cocoa 5. Oh, the great flavors. We'll have to bring this back to Detroit. It's been fun to drink this Cocoa 5. Cocoa water, so refreshing, multiple flavors, and we've enjoyed that here at the tournament. Mac Jelks tournament, sponsored by Disparty Law Group. Find them on Wacker Street in Chicago, 312-506-5511. And you want the best, go to Disparty Law Group.
You know how I know you're not from the Chicagoland area?
What did I say?
You said Wacker Street.
Oh, Drive.
Wacker
my bad.
Drive.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm such a whacker.
You will be able to find them. And again, that's the kind of camera presence that I want from my lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Disparty's not playing around.
It's smart, not smug. It's confident.
Yeah, and it's just
it's not
spewing off that screen.
It's not necessarily Vincent LaGuardia Gambini, but it's still high-level law.
And you should go find them.
I like grits too. Use instant grits.
Oh, we're off the rails tonight. Just off the rails in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, the Railcats, independent league team in Gary.
Love it. Terrence Hayes triggers inbounds. 8-point lead for 21st Century. Tried to win on back-to-back nights in the Mac Jelks Invitational. Only team to play twice. They're trying to take advantage of it. That's Williams. 17 points, 16 rebounds. He's had a huge night. And he rips, drives, and finishes with a finger roll to boot. That is him. That's LW Lametrius Williams.
Yeah, Terrence Hayes has stole the show. Williams has had a really good night, too.
No look, Lance Stone, kick out, right wing 3, Splash City. That was pretty. Alfonso Harris from Renaissance stuck it, but it started with Lance Stone. We'll keep it right here. 7-point game, 43 seconds left. This game is being played in Hammond, Indiana, home of the Morton Governors, as we see the finish there. But this is a region that has a lot of history to it, Russ. It's very rich, and it's known a lot around a lot of parts for several reasons.
Yeah, it's a great spot to be able to come to visit, all ages, all of that. A lot of great towns in the region. Hammond, about 76,000. But you take a look at the other towns here. Downtown Crown Point is outstanding. So many spots. Gary, so much history there. Lowell, Maryville, Cherville, all the way over to Valparaiso. Valparaiso downtown is incredible.
Sure.
And we bring that up at this moment of the game to talk about our hosts, but also that South Shore region and the experience of the South Shore. I mean, we were right by the Indiana Welcome Center there.
Yeah, you went in, didn't you, today?
I did. I got a road map for my dad, who loves them.
That's awesome.
But we thank our hosts here, and I really encourage folks to come on out to not only follow high school sports, but just to experience all that there is to the South Shore, to the dunes. And I'd say it's a pretty good vacation spot. Staycation, not that far away for folks from suburban Detroit.
Yeah, it's a nice gateway into Illinois, but there's enough to do here that you don't even have to go all the way.
No doubt.
Stay right here.
No doubt.
This is a nice region. Near steal far side or forced turnover by the Phoenix, but they don't get it. It's a foul, and that is just the team's fourth. One to give.
A couple of casinos around here, too, if you wish.
So I heard.
To delve into that. But beautiful scenery as well, and high-level basketball. It's at 7 at 36-5. It's going to be tough. It can happen, but it would be tough for Renaissance.
Inbound, risky pass. Williams catches and finishes. It's up to a 9-point game, and Williams blackjack 21 points. Splits to defenders. Malachi Jackson with a nice left-hand finish. And we're seeing some offense here, partner, late in this game.
And there's enough to like here about what Renaissance did in the second half. There are going to be a lot of games left in this season and a long way for Renaissance to go. But the way that they came back here tonight, I think any alum, any fan, any parent can be proud of what they're seeing. That was just a slip to the go on an out-of-bounds situation. That's going to happen. But I am going to be very interested to follow the Prep's coverage of Renaissance the rest of the way.
They will have a big game coming up in a couple of contests. Again, the 10th of January against Detroit King. I want to thank Ray's Caribbean Jerk again for their wonderful food tonight. East Chicago restaurant. We've had some wonderful sliders and pizzas, and turkey pepperoni that didn't scare anybody here was fabulous. Cheese pizza. Austin was worried that it might hurt. You know what? He's so worried about how well our employees are treated. Lance Stone for three, no, that's out of bounds, and that'll be the final shot of the night for Detroit Renaissance.
And you speak of East Chicago, there have been so many D1 players that come out of East Chicago, and we talk about college basketball in this state. I mean, I love and I support and I back the state of Michigan. Indiana, it's good here too, on all levels.
Yep, they love their basketball like none other. Inbound, John White will call off the Dogs in the region. And it's going to be a 9-point win here on back-to-back nights. An impressive showing at the Mac Jelks Invitational by 21st Century. The Cougars win it 86-77. They hold off the Phoenix of Detroit Renaissance as they now have dropped 2 straight. Russ and I will come back with our G of the game, and we'll have some stats, highlights, and much, much more as we wrap it up from the Mac Jelks Invitational. Thanks for watching. We're the Prep post-game show to follow. Back after these.
Hi, I'm Nick DePonio, and this is HVAC.
Every high school sporting event in the state of Michigan has one thing in common: officials. Every game, every meet, every match. Without officials, there'd be no touchdowns, no three-pointers, no face-offs. Without officials, there'd be no games. Officiating is a great way to give back to your community and stay involved with the sports you love. And officials are needed now more than ever, because without officials, it's just practice.
The store is set up. He's got the order, and he's off. It's a full court press. These brands are knocking it out of the park. This, my friends, is the speed we've come to expect from this team. Just look at the precision of that move, and it's out of here.
What makes people stand in this line like this for 3 hours? Because we're not Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons. These donuts are made fresh daily, and it's made with love and consistency. We got the same ingredients. It didn't change. The people know that, and that's why they standing out there.
In today's ever-changing mortgage lending world, the importance of true professionals has never been greater. At Success Mortgage Partners, we want you to have the experience of a lifetime. Founded and owned by Catholic League alumni, our family-centered business keeps your interest at heart as we help you navigate this turbulent market with ease. If you or a family member has a mortgage need, please call me, Owen Lee, at 734-822-9792.
Lowering the shoulder. Swing and a miss. McGinley scores!
And it's going to be a challenge for us. I mean, they're a really talented football team. I think everybody knows that.
4 wide receivers. Pressure, steps up. Marshall wants to run again. Cuts down the middle of the field. All alone. Touchdown! Warriors! What a cut.
The 21st Century Cougars get a win on back-to-back nights, a 9-point win over Detroit Renaissance. They hold off the boys from Detroit for the win. And look, a lot of things went right in this game, but the top guy was Terrence Hayes with 32 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks. I mean, you did everything, man. Congratulations, you're our G of the game.
Thank you.
You guys played last night.
Yes, sir.
And not only did you play, you went to overtime. And not only did you go to overtime, but you won.
Right.
Were you discussing this coming in? Hey, look, we played last night, guys. We got to make sure we make it through. What were the talking points coming in after playing last night?
We just wanted to come in and play hard. We know that we had a big competition ahead of us. We studied film all night, discussed it in the team group chat. We found out what everybody's strengths and weaknesses was, and we knew we had to exploit them.
What about you? When teams look at you and try to defend, what are you always trying to counter with your type of offense? What are teams trying to take away from you? Not much was taken away tonight in your 32-point effort.
Teams just try to force me right a lot and get the ball out of my hands. But I'm willing to go get the ball and do whatever it takes for my team to win.
Talk about your recruitment. You've got some offers, some Division I offers, Missouri State, Valparaiso, some others. Is this a situation where you feel like you're a Power 4 guy and you can get to that next level?
I don't like to overthink the situation much, and I don't really like to be cocky. I just like to wait, let God do his timing.
That's a good answer, man. What's left for you guys now? You've won a couple games in a row, back-to-back. You started hot during the season. You had a halt, and now you guys are picking it back up. What are the expectations for this team moving forward?
Only uphill from here, seriously. I got a great team, great support system. I believe that we're going to go state. I don't see us losing much at all. And I know my guys are going to come to compete every night.
How has it been under head coach James Scott? You guys seem to come together quite well. How has it been under his leadership?
It's been great knowing he's came where we came from. He's did where we want to go and been where we want to go. So him knowing and us listening, it's just like we just take it all in as he's talking.
Terrence Hayes has been doing his listening and doing his playing. 32 points, a big night, 13 of 16 from the floor. The pride of the 21st Century Cougars, our G of the game. All the best to you, sir, and we'll talk to you down the line.
Thank you.
All right, Terrence Hayes, our G of the game. Russ and I will wrap it up from the region right after this. The store is set up. He's got the order, and he's off. It's a full court press. These brands are knocking it out of the park. This, my friends, is the speed we've come to expect from this team. Just look at the precision of that move, and it's out of here.
Look, everybody wanna go and talk. At the same time, gotta walk it. Better yet, run, go, hit a lick, divvy up with my homies, and we do it all again.
Lowering the shoulder.
Swing and a miss.
McKinley scores!
Well, this was a second half that Malachi Jackson's decided to get things rocking for Rennie. They had a 9-point advantage at the end of the third. They made a run back, Russ Eisenstein, after they were down by 20 at the break.
Yeah, all told in the second half, Renaissance went on a 47-36 run in the second half to lose by 9, and they did it all the very right way. But too much Terrence Hayes in a lot of senses, offensively and defensively. But to Renaissance's credit, and if you're a Detroit high school fan, they did you proud tonight in the second half. Shots just weren't falling in half one in a lot of senses, and a lot of shots were on the other end. But what Renaissance was able to do in getting to the rim and finishing and getting extra possessions out of the deal just like that is the reason why this got tight and probably closer than the 9 points of this final score.
It would get down to 5 with about 3 minutes left, but that's as close as they would get it. The Cougars were pesky on defense and too much down the stretch with Terrence Hayes. And how about his wingman tonight? Not a bad one. 21 and 16 for Lametrius Williams, who was special at that 6'4" forward spot.
Yeah, the next step for 21st Century is to do what they've been doing and do it again, and that's sectional champs on the regional. Is there a semi-state run for them? And that's what you call the step before getting to Indianapolis. And what used to be called Market Square Arena, then into Conseco Fieldhouse and all of that. Yeah, I remember when they played at the Hoosier Dome and they showed it on ESPN in front of 70,000 fans when Damon Bailey was playing for Bedford. But all of that's to say, what we saw, what you saw out of 21st Century tonight was a team that's got the chops to make a run. And also visiting with Terrence Hayes' father while the interview was going on there, getting looks. And I guess that's what the Preps coverage does bring about, putting out the skill set of these players out there. And whoever's taking a look at him, they're looking at him for the right reasons. But again, Renaissance has some stuff there to build on and get better moving forward. And if you're a Renaissance fan, root for 21st Century as well.
Yep, no doubt. Jordan Sigmund, 23 points in the night to lead the way for Detroit Renaissance. It was Lance Stone with 16 points, 15 in the second half, but not enough and too late for the Renaissance Phoenix, who get 13 from Malachi Jackson, also had a good second half. But look, the 21st Century, they had a group chat going. What kids in a group chat late at night are talking about the opponent and their weaknesses? Pretty cool stuff, as we heard from Mr. Hicks or Mr. Hayes, and the way that they maturely handled this back-to-back game.
We've had texts about broadcasting late into the night.
Yeah, I
so,
guess.
You know,
we're also middle-aged adults.
I'm very young. I don't know what you're talking about. I look young.
We'll see
very
how young
athletic.
you are tonight. I'm going to put you to the
Very
challenge
young.
here in the region. We'll
Good
see how
looking
young
man,
you are.
very young. Seriously, though, it's great to see good basketball on display. And it's also great to see a company like yours have success with it. And one more time, everybody did an outstanding job. We asked one of the head coaches this week in our talks about the success in doing it on multiple levels. And the response was, have good people around you to help you. And that's what's happening here, too.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you adding to that and being a big part of what we're doing here in the region. Thanks for coming. He's Russ Eisenstein. It has been a great team effort. And let's get a camera on this crew. Enough on my ugly mug. Austin Sonnenberg on statistics with Pat the Stat. And we've got a great camera crew as well. Jason Harris, Sean Scott, Chris Armani Rose, CJ Easterling on audio.
Goodness.
Rob Hunter, the Huntman, on graphics. Alex Westfall, the captain, your executive producer. Evan Westfall on replay. And Chris Armani Rose on camera. Did I get everybody?
What is this, like the Tigers broadcast crew here?
Well,
Goodness.
look, we got some great people.
Oh,
we
it's
couldn't
great.
do it without them. And we thank Austin Sonnenberg for his hard work as well on social media. Chris Armani Rose with a lot of that video work on social media as well. My name is Chad Bush. Time to say goodbye. Thanks to Greg Jones. Thanks to the Mac Jelks Invitational. For my partner, Russ Eisenstein, my name is Chad Bush. Indiana wins 2 of the 3 games over Michigan, and it's 21st Century, and the Cougars knocking off Renaissance in the nightcapper. 86-77 for the Cougars, who moved to 8-2. Renaissance moves to 3-3. Good night, everybody, from Indiana. Thanks for watching. We're the Prep. So long.